On the frigid morning of July 14, 1980, five Brazilian researchers began what was meant to be a routine scientific expedition in the Serra da Mantiqueira, one of the most prominent mountain ranges in southeastern Brazil. The group was led by the renowned geologist, 47-year-old Dr. Paulo Mendes. They set out from the small town of Campos do Jordão, their objective to study rock formations in the highest and most isolated part of the range, where temperatures during that harsh winter plummeted to 8.8 degrees Celsius. Accompanying Dr. Mendes were biologist Dr. Cristina Alves, 38, cartographer-engineer Roberto Sanchez, 42, photographer and documentarian Lucas Peixoto, 29, and their local guide, 51-year-old Sebastião Ribeiro, a man known for his expertise on the region's most dangerous trails. The team had meticulously planned the expedition for months, outfitting themselves with the best available gear to face the extreme cold and rugged terrain. According to meteorological records, a dense fog blanketed the mountains that morning, severely reducing visibility. The forecast predicted worsening conditions over the following days, with the possibility of snowstorms at higher elevations. Despite this, the team decided to press on, trusting in Sebastião's experience and the quality of their equipment. The last contact with the group was made at 3:32 p.m. that same day. Dr. Mendes used the radio communicator to inform their base in Campos do Jordão that they had reached the base camp at an altitude of 2,200 meters. In his transmission, he described the deteriorating weather but affirmed that the team was safe and would proceed with their plan to reach the main research point the next morning. "We have limited visibility, but Sebastião knows this trail well," were Dr. Mendes's last recorded words. "We'll head for the main geological formation early tomorrow. We'll make contact again at 7:30 p.m. The 7:30 p.m. contact never happened. When the base tried to establish communication, there was only silence. Another attempt was made at 9 o'clock p.m., also without success. The emergency protocol dictated that after 3 failed contact attempts, a disappearance alert would be issued. At midnight, as a snowstorm began to lash the region, the alert was officially declared. The families of the 5 expedition members were notified the following morning. Maria Mendes, Dr. Paulo's wife, later wrote in her diary that she knew instantly something terrible had occurred. "Paulo would never fail to make contact," she wrote. "He was methodical, organized. If he didn't respond, something grave has happened." In the days that followed, an intensive search was organized involving the fire department, military police, local guides, and regional volunteers. The weather conditions, however, were atrocious. Snow and wind severely hampered the search efforts, and the temperature dropped to -12 degrees Celsius at the team's last known location. After 7 days of relentless searching, only a few pieces of equipment were found: a backpack belonging to the photographer, Lucas, some scientific instruments, and part of their camping gear. But there was no sign of the 5 missing people, no bodies, no conclusive evidence of what might have befallen them. The search area was incredibly challenging. Deep ravines, steep cliffs, and unexplored caves made the rescue team's work both dangerous and complex. After 3 weeks, with dwindling resources and persistently adverse weather, the official search was suspended to the utter despair of the families. The disappearance of the 5 researchers in the Serra da Mantiqueira quickly made headlines in Brazil's major newspapers. "Scientists vanish on mountain expedition," announced the Jornal do Brasil in its July 22, 1980 edition. The national coverage put pressure on the authorities, who resumed the search in August when the weather improved slightly. Regional delegate Carlos Drummond was assigned to lead the police investigation. His first step was to interview the families, searching for any clues. During these interviews, intriguing details emerged. Maria Mendes revealed that in the weeks before the expedition, her husband had mentioned discovering something potentially revolutionary in the region's rock formations. He was especially excited about this trip, she told the delegate. He said it could change our understanding of Brazil's geological formation. Meanwhile, Roberto Sanchez's wife gave authorities one of her husband's notebooks. In it, he had drawn detailed maps of the region, marking a specific point with the note, "Significant magnetic anomaly. Verify on site." This point was located approximately 3 kilometers from the expedition's last known location. The investigation took a new turn in September 1980, when a group of amateur climbers found a damaged camera, later identified as belonging to Lucas Picciotto. After careful restoration work, technicians managed to develop the film inside. The images showed the team at various points along the trail. The very last photo, captured at 5:45 p.m. on the day they vanished, showed what appeared to be the entrance to an unmapped cave, with Dr. Mendes pointing enthusiastically towards it. This discovery led authorities to concentrate their search in the area where the photograph was taken. However, due to the vastness of the terrain and the technological limitations of the era, the exact location of the cave was never found. Geologists consulted on the case suggested there could be dozens of similar cave entrances in the region, many of them temporary, formed by seasonal melting and refreezing. The case grew even more mysterious when, in October 1980, a local resident reported seeing strange lights on the mountain on the night of the disappearance. They seemed to move in an unnatural way, as if they were dancing in the air, stated Jose Pereira, a farmer who lived at the foot of the mountain range. His testimony was initially dismissed by authorities as unreliable, but it would be reevaluated years later. As the months passed, various theories emerged. The official police hypothesis pointed to an accident, most likely a fall into a ravine or a crevasse hidden by snow which had claimed the entire group. Some mountaineering experts suggested an avalanche could have buried the team without leaving any obvious trace. Alternative theories also surfaced. Ufologists began to link the case to the lights reported by Jose Pereira, suggesting a possible extraterrestrial encounter. Others speculated about the existence of caves filled with toxic gases that could have incapacitated the group, or even the possibility that the researchers had found something they shouldn't have and were silenced by unknown forces. In March 1981, 8 months after the disappearance, the official investigation was closed. Delegate Drummond's final report concluded, "All evidence points to a tragic mountaineering accident, possibly involving a fall in rugged terrain or burial by an avalanche. In the absence of bodies or conclusive evidence, it is not possible to determine the exact circumstances of the event." Unsatisfied with this conclusion, the families hired private investigators who continued the search for another 2 years, without success. Gradually, the case faded from the headlines, becoming just another tragic story of the Brazilian mountains, a mystery with no apparent solution. In 1985, a memorial was erected in Campos do Jordão in honor of the 5 missing individuals. A bronze plaque bearing their names and the inscription, "The mountain has welcomed them into its eternal mystery," marked the spot where, each year, their families would gather to keep their memory alive. In early April 2025, 45 years after the disappearance, the case, which seemed destined to be forgotten, gained a new and astonishing chapter. A team of researchers from the National Institute for Space Research, NPE, was using drones equipped with advanced thermal imaging technology to study the impact of climate change. In the Serra da Mantiqueira, while mapping a remote area at an altitude of approximately 2,800 meters, One of the drones registered an unusual thermal anomaly. Amidst the dense vegetation and rock formations, a specific point showed a heat signature that was significantly different from its surroundings. Dr. Fernando Almeida, the project coordinator, described the finding as completely unexpected and inexplicable according to the known geothermal patterns of the region. Intrigued, the NPE team decided to investigate the site in person. After a 2-day trek through extremely rugged terrain, they reached the exact location of the anomaly. What they found left them stunned. A narrow opening in the rock, partially covered by vegetation, was emitting a constant flow of warm air. The outside temperature was about 5 degrees Celsius, reported Dr. Luciana Costa, the team's geologist. But the air coming out of that fissure was approximately 20 degrees. This is absolutely abnormal for the region, and suggested the existence of a subterranean chamber with very particular characteristics. Using caving equipment, the team widened the opening and discovered the entrance to an unmapped cave. Just a few meters inside, they found the first clue, a rusted but still identifiable climbing carabiner, engraved with the initials PM, Paulo Mendes. The discovery was immediately reported to the authorities, and a joint operation involving the federal police, the fire department, and caving experts was organized. On April 15th, a team of 12 entered the cave, outfitted with the most modern exploration and recording equipment. What they found inside defied simple explanation. The cave extended for hundreds of meters, forming a complex network of tunnels and chambers. In one of the main chambers, they located the remains of an improvised camp. Deteriorated backpacks, rusted scientific equipment, and, most impressively, notebooks that were relatively well preserved thanks to the cave's dry environment. One of these notebooks, identified as belonging to Dr. Paulo Mendes, contained detailed entries from the expedition's final days. The notes revealed that the group had taken refuge in the cave during the snowstorm, discovering the subterranean network by chance. Mendes described the location as a geological discovery without precedent, mentioning unusual features in the rock formation. The last entry in his journal, dated July 17, 1980, 3 days after their final radio contact, read, "Roberto has calculated that the passage should lead us to an exit on the east side of the mountain. The radio batteries are completely dead. We are all well despite the cold and lack of food. The discovery we have made here could change the understanding of Brazilian geology forever." Further into the cave network, the search team found 5 sets of human remains, later confirmed by DNA analysis to belong to the members of the lost expedition. They were in a chamber where a massive rockfall had apparently occurred, blocking what seemed to be a continuation of the tunnel. Most intriguing, however, was the source of the thermal anomaly that had led to their discovery. At the center of the chamber where the bodies were found, a unique rock formation emitted a constant heat. Preliminary analysis indicated the presence of a rare type of radioactive mineral, which reacted unusually with the local geology, generating the thermal phenomenon. Detailed analysis of the remains found in the Serra da Mantiqueira cave revealed a tragic and surprising narrative of the 5 researchers' final days. Forensic examinations conducted by the Medical Legal Institute of São Paulo with support from international experts determined that the 5 had survived for approximately 2 weeks after their disappearance. Dr. Carlos Ribeiro, the team's chief medical examiner, explained, "The evidence indicates they did not die immediately. They survived for several days, possibly until the end of July 1980. The most probable cause of death was a combination of hypothermia, dehydration, and, in the case of at least 2 of them, traumatic injuries consistent with a rockfall." The recovered notebooks and equipment provided an almost day-by-day account of what had happened. After taking refuge in the cave during the storm, The group discovered that the tunnel network was far more extensive than they had initially realized. Motivated by scientific discovery and unable to return outside due to the extreme weather, they decided to explore the cave system more deeply. Dr. Mendes's notes described with scientific excitement the discovery of the heat-generating mineral formation. It is a geothermal phenomenon completely unknown in Brazilian scientific literature, he wrote. The mineral composition exhibits low-intensity radioactive characteristics, but enough to generate a microclimate within the cave. This discovery could revolutionize our understanding of potential alternative energy sources in the country. Tragically, it was this same scientific curiosity that sealed the group's fate. While attempting to collect samples from the rock formation, they triggered a collapse that blocked the main tunnel, trapping them in the deepest chamber. Their attempts to dig a way out only caused further rockfalls, worsening their situation. The last written records by Cristina Alves were dated July 29th and revealed their growing desperation. Water and food are almost gone. Roberto and Sebastian are very weak. Paulo is trying to keep everyone's spirits up, but we know our chances are diminishing with every hour. The heat from the rock formation is what keeps us alive in this cold, but paradoxically, the radiation it emits may be affecting us somehow. Lucas has developed a persistent cough and nosebleeds. Contemporary scientists have since confirmed that prolonged exposure to low-intensity radiation, combined with dehydration and extreme stress, hastened the group's physical decline. The final report concluded that all 5 members of the expedition perished inside the cave, likely by early August of 1980. The discovery of the rare radioactive mineral, subsequently named mendesite in honor of Dr. Paulo Mendes, generated immense interest within the international scientific community. Preliminary studies indicated unique properties that could have applications in clean energy generation technologies, just as the geologist had foreseen in his final notes. For the families of the missing, the discovery of the remains brought a long-awaited sense of closure. Maria Mendes, now 87 years old, stated emotionally, "For 45 years I lived with uncertainty. I didn't know if Paulo had suffered, if he was lost, or if he had fallen victim to something terrible. Now I know he died doing what he loved, surrounded by colleagues who shared his passion for science. And his discovery, even though it cost him his life, may benefit countless future generations." On June 12, 2025, a solemn ceremony was held in Campos do Jordão, where the remains of the 5 researchers were finally laid to rest. Scientific authorities, family members, and government representatives paid homage to those who, in the pursuit of knowledge, had paid the ultimate price. The cave site was designated a special protected area by the Brazilian government, with access restricted to authorized researchers. A research center dedicated to the study of mendesite was established nearby, carrying forward the scientific legacy of the 5 pioneers. The impact of the discovery in the Mantiqueira Mountains transcended the closure of a decades-old disappearance case. In the months that followed the identification of the remains and the confirmation of the unique mineral, a true scientific revolution began to unfold in Brazil and around the world. Mendesite, as it was officially catalogued by the International Mineralogical Association in August 2025, revealed itself to be a mineral with exceptional thermoelectric properties. Researchers from the University of São Paulo, in collaboration with scientists from MIT in the United States, determined that the mineral could generate electricity from minimal temperature differences, with an efficiency far superior to any known thermoelectric material. What makes mendesite revolutionary is its ability to convert heat into electricity, with an efficiency of nearly 37%, whereas the best materials currently in use barely exceed 10%. explained Dr. Fernanda Pacheco, leader of the USP research team. This represents an incalculable potential for clean, sustainable energy generation. In November 2025, the Brazilian government announced the creation of the Paulo Mendes Institute for Energy Research, a center of excellence dedicated to the study and development of Mendesite applications. With an initial investment of 500 million reais, the institute brought together scientists from various fields to explore the mineral's full potential. At the same time, the human aspect of the story continued to resonate deeply within Brazilian society. The case of the Mantiqueira Five, as they came to be known, inspired documentaries, books, and even a television miniseries. The narrative of scientists who sacrificed their lives in the name of advancing knowledge captured the public imagination and rekindled an interest in science among the youth. Carlos Mendes, Dr. Paulo's son, who was only 12 when his father disappeared and was now a geology professor at UFRJ, reflected on the legacy left behind. My father and his colleagues died without knowing the impact their discovery would have. They could not have imagined that the strange mineral they found in a cave would one day offer a potential solution to the global energy crisis. In January 2026, the first experimental power plant using Mendesite-based technology became operational near Campos do Jordão. Harnessing the natural temperature gradient between day and night in the mountainous region, the small plant produced enough energy to supply the entire city, with no pollutant emissions or waste. Experts projected that with continued development, similar plants could be implemented in diverse regions across the planet, using natural temperature differences to generate clean and accessible energy. We are potentially facing the greatest energy revolution since the discovery of nuclear fission, affirmed American physicist Dr. Robert Wheeler of Stanford University. The story of the five researchers also prompted significant changes in safety protocols for scientific expeditions in remote areas. The Ministry of Science and Technology established strict guidelines, including redundant communication systems, satellite trackers, and detailed emergency protocols for all field missions. The researchers' families, initially united by shared tragedy and then by the long wait for answers, remained connected through the decades. Together they created the Mantiqueira Foundation, a non-profit organization dedicated to supporting young scientists in high-risk, high-impact research areas. Our loved ones died pursuing knowledge that could benefit humanity, declared Ana Sanchez, Roberto's daughter and now president of the foundation. We want to ensure their sacrifice continues to inspire future generations of researchers to do the same, but with the tools and safety they never had. The case of the Mantiqueira Five also revitalized interest in speleology in Brazil. Dozens of new expeditions were organized to map previously unexplored cave systems, leading to significant discoveries about Brazil's geology and subterranean biodiversity. In a twist of fate, the same thermal imaging drone technology that led to the discovery of the 1980 expedition's remains became a standard tool for search and rescue operations in mountainous regions, potentially saving countless future lives. In December 2026, in an emotional ceremony, the five researchers were posthumously awarded the National Order of Scientific Merit, Brazil's highest scientific honor. Their names were inscribed in the pantheon of the fatherland in Brasilia, alongside other Brazilians who made extraordinary contributions to the country. If you've watched this far, it means you care about these stories that leave a permanent mark on families. Let me know by leaving a comment below saying, "I watched to the end," so I can see who truly values the search for truth. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like this video, and share it with friends who are interested in real-life mysteries. Mysteries that, even after decades, can reveal astonishing truths that change not only the fate of families, but potentially the energy future of all humankind. The story of the Mantiqueira Five reminds us that the pursuit of knowledge, while sometimes demanding the ultimate sacrifice, is what drives humanity forward. As Dr. Paulo Mendes wrote in his final entry, the true explorer knows that every discovery is merely the beginning of a greater journey. Even if we cannot complete it ourselves, others will come after us to continue the path.